All right, what's good, everybody? Welcome to Ovalle Inspiración. Happy Saturday. I hope you guys are doing great in this beautiful day. I don't know where you guys are watching from, but shout out to you guys who are watching and who will be watching after this as well. But it's been like almost a month that I have not come out with an episode. I just, been busy working, doing Uber, and it does take a lot of time for me to actually, sit down and come up with my notes and think. And it's not easy. It's not easy. I want more time, but right now I'm still sacrificing to be debt free. Okay. But I just want to shout out to everyone who's here. Feel free to let me know who you are. Feel free to let me know where you're watching from. But blessings to you guys. All right. Blessing. Thank you for coming on my channel, Ovalle Inspiración. You're familiar. I've seen you on the Sunday live stream with It's in the Word show. Awesome. Blessing. Thank you so much. But I hope you guys are going to be edified with what I am going to be talking today. This is about personal finance. As if, some of you guys, also I'm from Virginia. That's what's up. I'm from Miami. All right. So what we're going to talk about today is super, super important. It can be eye-opening to you. It can probably help you change your mindset when it comes to money and your spending habits and all those kind of things. But we're going to get started. All right. And today the topic is called, as you saw, spending less but gaining more. I kind of touched on this on a video that I did, I think last week, very short, like 8-minute video, and spoke about the benefits, but we're going to go more in depth when it comes to these things. And I have some great stuff to share with you guys in regards to personal finances and spending less and gaining more. So let's start off with a quote from Thomas Jefferson. All right. He said something that I wish more people could really understand and put into practice. And he said, never spend your money before you have earned it. Again, never spend your money before you have earned it. All right. And this is very important. This is actually common sense, right? This is actually very simple, a simple, practical idea, for everyday life. But there has been a big problem in America. Something has came that's deadly in the financial aspect, and it is called buy now, pay later. All right? We already know about credit cards, we already loans and all those kind of things. So it's the issue of buy now and pay later. Listen, loans and credit card services may come in handy, but in reality, it's actually more damaging than good for most people in America because they get sucked in debt. All right? This is the thing that has come to this country with the thing of buy now and pay later. The reason why it's convenient for many people, or they think it's convenient for many people, is because you use credit cards, right? You swipe it, or you go on Amazon, or you go on any website, and you just one click away from buying something, especially using your credit card. And what happens when you use your credit card? You get yourself in debt. Yes, I understand that some people are doing it to build credit. You're going to pay it back at the end of the month, but let's be real. Most people that have that mindset, they do not wind up paying at the end of the month. Emergencies do happen, and then they get tempted to use that as an emergency fund. And then they get more in debt by using that same credit card when they keep telling themselves, oh, I'm going to pay at the end of the month. And at the end of the day, most people only make minimum payments, which in reality, they're not making really much payment to their credit card to be debt free. All right, because you got interest rate. Let's talk about Macy's or any retail store cards, especially during Christmas season, right? When they harass you to get credit cards. And it's about, I don't know, let's say 28%. 28% of interest rate. That is murder right there. But they tell us, oh, if you apply for a credit card today, you buy something and we'll give you a percentage off, right? But that's not something that we should be proud of. That's not something we should be actually happy about. Because at the end of the day, you're still getting in debt. You're still using your credit card, no matter what. And when it comes to having those kind of services, again, it may make us feel good because we're buying it right away. Instant gratification, right? Delayed gratification. We have a microwave mentality that we have today. You know what I'm saying? We got every 6 months a new iPhone comes out. And if you have the iPhone 11 or whatever, the 12 that just came out, in 6 months, the next one's going to come out. When in reality, there's no need for you to get the new phone because the phone that you have works pretty well. The phone that you have just is almost as the same as the new one that's going to come out. Probably just they'll add some new features and whatnot. But that's the thing. They get you with that mentality. The next big thing. Or FOMO, the fear of missing out. You want to keep up with the trend that everybody else has. All right? Same thing with clothes. Shoes. You want to fill up your closet. Listen, there's going to be new clothes every week. I mean, every season. You know what I'm saying? You got the spring season, the fall season, the winter season, the summer season. I mean, if you're in Miami, you really only have one season. All right? It's really not much of a difference. But if you're from New Jersey, like I was from, you know, you're going to have clothes for every season, and every year is going to have new clothes. You know what I'm saying? So we get so caught up in buying things now, but paying later. When you can actually save up cash for it and learn how to be content with the stuff that you have now and learn how to value what you have now and learn how to value waiting for something. Waiting to pay for something in cash and not just swiping a credit card that gets us sucked in debt, right? Now, if you want or need something, save up cash and buy it. It's safer, it's better, and it's more convenient in the long run. Listen, and this is not to brag what I'm gonna share with you guys. Everything that besides my Mac, all right. Things could have been different, but everything that we own, my wife and I own in this apartment that we live in, from the bookshelf that you see behind me, from this table, from the sofas, from the bed, from the desk that we have in one of the rooms, like all those things, and the TV, they were purchased in cash or a debit card. We didn't have to use a credit card. As a matter of fact, the TV that we got now, we didn't get it right away. Not because we couldn't afford it, because the TV that we got was really cheap anyways, but there were certain things that we didn't get. The sofa we didn't get right away because we know it was going to cost money. So we waited until we had money saved up in our account. And then we went ahead and bought it in cash or in our debit card versus using a credit card that we had before, getting ourselves in debt, but knowing that we had to pay that back. But in the long run, it's been 2 years that we've been married already. And listen, it feels great that none of these things that we purchased was with credit cards. Everything was paid with a debit card. We didn't have to worry about paying this, the credit card, the loan, the lender back. We didn't have to worry about, dang, if we had an emergency, then I mean, we have to use that card on top of the other payment that we had to make. Like we're stress-free when it comes to all of this. We didn't have to worry about it at all. Okay. Then the next thing I want to share with you when it comes to buy now, pay later and talking about debt is that America right now, when it comes to credit cards, is over $1 trillion of credit card debt. That is a lot of money. And you know what? That's not even the highest. Student loan debt right now is 1.7 million. As a matter of fact, last year, it was about $1.56 trillion. Right now, it went up to $1.7 trillion in student loan debt. Listen, that's murder. So many people can't even graduate with peace because they have so much debt. They can't even afford to buy a home, especially if they have bad money habits. You know what I'm saying? But over $1 trillion in credit card debt. Of course, not every debt of credit card is consumer debt, but the majority it is. And this is where we need to be very careful. to have to pay cash for things and not use a credit card. Now, if you do want to use a credit card, this is what I would say. Use your credit card like a debit card. What do I mean by that? So with your debit card or your bank account, right, you're paying your monthly bills, whether you're doing groceries, you're paying for your gas, you're paying for your car note, for insurance, anything that you make payments that's automatically and that's mandatory every month to keep things running in your life, like the light bill, your gas and all that. If you have a credit card, use it like with those specific things that you're paying already. And then when you use that credit card, you are going to pay off that credit card immediately. Don't even wait till the end of the month. Do not make minimum payments. No, because then you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. And me personally, I'd rather not have credit. If anything, if I do have a credit card, I'll get it just to build credit just for that. But even with that, I don't even have a credit card. Last year, if you look at my previous videos, my wife and I, we paid off 3 credit cards in total. I think 2 or 3, including a student loan, right? And we cut it off. We closed it. Yes, I know, don't close it because the credit score is going to go down. Listen, it really hasn't affected us at all. Like, our credit score is still good. You know what I'm saying? So that is what I want to say about buy now and pay later. The next thing I want to talk about is when you spend less and you gain more money doesn't always bring solution to your money problems. Okay? Because many people have that mindset. They'll say, oh, wow, okay, great. If I make more money, I'm going to spend more money. Or if I make more money, it's going to solve my money problems. Not always the case. For many people, it is not always. You know why? Because many people have a money budgeting problem. They have bad spending habits. All right? And I have a video on that I did on one of my episodes. What up, my sister Manika? God bless you, my sister. Sakpase. Yes, it doesn't always bring money. It doesn't always solve your money problems. Okay? Because if you have bad spending habits, you have bad money habits, bad money. If you don't budget, listen, more money is going to bring more problems. Right? Wasn't it Biggie that says more money, more problems? And that's a reality for many people in America. Okay? But if you have a good budgeting, a good money management, and you make more money, you know what? You're going to actually do a lot better. All right? Because when you have that, bringing more money can actually solve money problems when you are right. But many times you don't know why you have the relationship that you do with money. Because the root, you need to find the root, which is my first episode that you guys can go see of the root of your money problems. You need to go find that. Why do you have that problem with your money? What kind of environment or what kind of family were you raised in? Were you raised in a family where your family was very bougie and spending very money on expensive things? And I'm not saying you can't spend that money on expensive things, but then you came up with that mindset or continue with that mindset as you got older, and you want to be bougie and spend money and spend money, a lot of money, expensive things, but then be broke at the same time. Doesn't work like that. Or maybe you grew up in a family where you had a lot of money fights with your parents, and because of that, you didn't want anything to do with money, and because of that, you were scared how to deal with money. So because you grew up spending a lot of your money and not knowing what to do with it. But there's a bunch of other reasons why you have why you have the root of those money habits. All right. When it comes to more money, doesn't always bring solution to your money problem. Listen, if you have more extra money in the bank account, do not spend it unless you need to, which is very important. Okay. Live below your means. If you already spent money on the important things, the essentials, food, transportation, clothes if you need it, or anything like that, or where you live, listen, that extra money can go into the extra debt. That extra money can go into investment, which I'll be getting talk about soon. But you don't need to be spending that money. Put it towards something that is going to be worth it in the long run. Okay? Another thing about that is earning more money does not mean spending more. All right, listen, there are a lot of people that make $100,000 a year, you know, and they're still broke. They are still broke. Why? Because the more money they get, their mindset is great. I'm going to keep buying more things. I'm going to keep buying more expensive things. For what? For what? For me, for example, I have a closet, right? With clothes in it. And this is a rule of thumb that I do. If I have clothes sitting there for 3 months, I am going to give it away. Now, last year, I didn't apply that rule because we were on lockdown because of COVID. I barely went out. So I really didn't have to wear all those clothes. So I just kept it there. But generally speaking, on a pre-COVID time, you know, if I have clothes there for 90 days, they are gone. It's holding up space for no reason. And if you know who I am, I like to declutter. I like to clean. I don't like to have so many things in the way. It stresses me out. You know what I'm saying? If you were to see my car is super clean. Once I wash it, I do more in-depth cleaning. I wax it in the inside. I clean the rims, the tires. I have a portable vacuum. I have all those things because I love it. I love to clean. I love to declutter. And it's the same thing with money. Just because you earn more money doesn't mean you spend more money. You should actually spend less when it comes to that. The next point I want to make is paying off debt gives you an increase. What do I mean by that? So many of us that have jobs, we would love to have an increase, a pay raise, right? Many times we're scared. We don't know how to speak to our bosses about getting a pay raise, especially after working some time and you feel like you've been putting a lot of work. You've been helping the company grow and you feel like you deserve a pay raise. But you know what? Not all the time you will get a pay raise. But I can tell you how to get a pay raise when you are in debt. For example, one of the cars that my wife and I have, we paid it off last year in November, late November, okay? And we bought it and we paid it off in 1 year and 7 months, which could have taken us 4 years if we continued to make minimum payments, all right? Now, the monthly car payment for that specific car was $253 a month, right? And you know what happens after we paid it off? We just gave ourselves a pay raise of $253 a month, all right? So if you are in debt, one way to give yourself a raise is paying off that debt. Whatever you were paying each month, minimum payment, that is how much you get. That is how much you get as a pay raise once you pay it off. And you know what? We've been married for 2 years. We had $67,000 in debt combined. Today, we only have $27,000 left. And with all the debt, we had about 10 different debt combined. You know what I'm saying? That's what's up. Keep saving, bro. With all that, we had 10 different total debt combined. And we added all of the minimum payments that we had in each one. And guess what? We gave ourselves about $500 and more of a pay raise. So you know what that means? That means that we're able to use that $500 plus, and we put it towards our next smallest debt, which is why we pretty much paid $40,000 in 2 years, because we were paying off all of those debt, and we used that extra money that we were using towards that debt and put it into the new debt, the new smallest debt. And we got rid of it like this. And that's called the debt snowball, where you list your debt from smallest to largest, and you make minimum payments on all the big ones minus the smallest debt. The smallest debt, you attack it as fast as you can. You put as much money as you can towards that smallest debt. So when you finally pay that off, that gives you a boost. You know, psychologically speaking, you know, it makes you feel great. Your dopamine level rises high. You want to keep doing the same thing. You create a faster win. So whatever amount you put towards that smallest debt, you go on to the next smallest debt and you put that amount along with the minimum payment while making minimum payments on everything else. And you'll see the continuation of that debt going away as well. So again, guys, we had 10 different debt when we got married. Now we have 3 left. And soon we'll be paying off another one, which I'm excited. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I can't wait to make a video about that because that's going to be a big deal for us. It's amazing. It's amazing that when you can think and change your mindset when it comes to money, everything changes for you financially. You know what I'm saying? Another thing I want to mention is that when it comes to having a car, you know, we have a one paid off car. We have another car that's still being paid off, and it's amazing how these car dealerships they play with your mind without you noticing. Because I made a kind of a big payment on my car note, you know, way above the minimum payment. You know what they did? I checked my account the other day, and my next payment is not due to July 21st of $269. But they think they're slick. But when most people see that, they'll feel quote unquote relief, and they'll say, oh, okay, great. I don't have to make another payment until 2 months from now. Now I can focus on the other thing. But my peoples, that's not how it works. That's how they get you. That's how they trap you. That's how they keep you with that car. You know what I'm saying? It's all right, my sister. Listen, if you want, you can email me. All right, ovalle.inspiracion@gmail.com. We can set up a Zoom call, and we can give you a rundown of you know, your finances and whatnot, and I can help you get out of debt. You just got to put in the work. All right, feel free to message me. But yes, so when it comes to that, you know, that's how they get you. They want to keep you trapped with that car, because think about it. You're making car payments, right? Your car is decreasing in value. That's number one, which means you're paying more for what the car is worth. And number two, not only that you're paying for the car, you're also paying interest, and the lenders are making money off of that. So they hate when people buy a car in cash, because they're not going to make money. You know what I'm saying? So that is why I'm trying to get out of debt. I'm trying to pay off my car, because I don't want to keep paying for more than what it's worth. Because it decreases in its value. You know what I'm saying? So yes. The next thing is that when you spend less and you gain more, you have more money that you can put towards your debt, just like I mentioned. All right. Okay. Well, since you told me your age, do not email me because you are a minor. All right, but you are still young. All right, you probably cannot work yet, well, you're in Virginia. I don't know how the law is over there. Learn as much as you can now with personal finance. So when you finally get a job, you know, you can be a lot better. You know what I'm saying? And keep watching my videos, watch other videos of people who are trusted that can teach you when it comes to finances. Because listen, I wish I was you at your age, listening to somebody who knows what they're talking about, who's experienced getting out of debt or becoming debt-free soon. Because I didn't have financial literacy. You're in the right path. Continue doing what you're doing right now. All right? So let's go to the next point. The next point is quickly save for an emergency fund. This is very, very important, guys. All right? Listen. If you do not have debt, quickly save 3 to 6 months for emergencies. Why? Because you are not exempt for anything bad happening to you. Emergencies will happen in your life. If you have a car, your car may break down soon. You may have a flat tire. If you live in a hot city like Miami and you need the AC, you want to make sure that AC works. If not, you're going to be pulling down that window and receiving hot air. You don't want that. You know what I'm saying? You want to be able to have an emergency fund. But like I said, if you don't have any debt, save 3 to 6 months of an emergency. For example, if your monthly expenses is $2,000, and if you want to save $2,000 for 6 months, you're going to have $12,000 for an emergency fund. What if you get into an accident and you can't work for a couple of months? What if you get laid off? A lot of people have been getting laid off during COVID, right? Since last year and even now. Or maybe you got your hours cut and you're not making enough money. Your emergency fund can cover that. And you know that in America, many workers can't even cover $500 for an emergency. for many different reasons. And one of the main reasons is because they rely on credit cards. And when you rely on credit cards for an emergency, you're only putting yourself in a bigger and a deep hole. Why? Because number one, you don't have an emergency fund. Two, you're using your credit card for an emergency fund. And three, you have to make that payment back to that lender, which money that you probably don't even have. Right? And you have other things you got to pay for. Maybe if you have children, if you have to pay for a rent, pay for your car. Like we have to do better. We have to change our mindset when it comes to all of these things. The next point I want to make is that when you spend less money, you have more money to invest. All right? Especially when you have no debt, you have more money. You have room to invest in your home, for a future home. You have room to invest for your retirement, for your kids' future college, for mutual funds, for ETFs, index funds, all those kind of things. Get familiarized when it comes to investing in these kind of different things. But I would always caution you, number one, do not invest in single stocks. All right? You want to be able to diversify your investment, because if that single stock and that one company goes down, all your money is gone. But when you invest it into multiple different companies, you're safer that way. All right? Because if you lose that one company, at least you have the others. Okay? Think about, maybe you want to save money for a vehicle, right? You need to buy a house. You need to buy a car. You're going to have extra money to do so instead of financing it and putting yourself in debt. And I know it's not easy. Not everybody can do that, especially right away. But this is why personal finance, this is why you have to have financial literacy. Start with the basics first. Because if not, you're going to keep them making the same mistake and continue that same trend that everybody is doing in America, including myself, because I did not grow up with financial literacy. So it's important that you do this now. Learn now, right? Change your mindset. Live below your means. Stop being a follower of what everybody else is doing in the world because they want to buy the most expensive thing. They want to buy the most expensive car. I was listening to not a phone call, on the Dave Ramsey show, and somebody called in, a young 20-something-year-old, and my heart was hurting for him. And even though I'm not the one who made that decision, this guy, man, this guy's called in. He makes $60,000 a year, and he purchased a vehicle on BMW for $40,000. I'm like, this guy just messed it all up. You know what I'm saying? Like, he could have used a lot of that money in investments and become a millionaire easy, in due time, versus putting that money into a vehicle that's going to die out one day, that's going to decrease in value in 3 years, 60%, right? Like, he's already broke. Yes, ouch. You know what I'm saying? He's already broke because you got to worry about maintaining the car. What if something happens to the car? Like, there's so many things that goes there. And especially if you don't have an emergency fund, you're done. You're done. So you want to be able to have money to invest. But let me go back real quick. We're talking about emergency fund because I have a quick story, and I have a video you can watch as well, but I'm going to keep this short. 2 years ago, I was getting ready to move with my wife into the apartment that we're in right now. And we rented a U-Haul truck, and we go straight to IKEA to pick up some stuff that we pre-ordered. And if you guys been to IKEA, usually you'll find there's two places to park, outside of the building or inside. And me, with the U-Haul truck, I wanted to go inside. But mind you, I'm excited. My dopamine levels are super high. My wife is on the phone. I'm paying attention to her. We're moving in together. Yes. But I didn't realize that as you're going in the little ramp to park inside, we have that big yellow thing that says clearance and it has numbers. I didn't realize that I could not go in there because the truck was too high. And what happened? Boom! I crashed. I dented the front right part of the U-Haul truck. And you know what happened after that? Long story short, when I returned the truck back to U-Haul, the guy comes out and he had the only face. But the thing is that he wasn't there in the morning when I picked it up. So he wasn't sure if it was like that or I came with the truck because I crashed it. So I was honest with him and I told him, this was my fault. I wasn't, I didn't realize it, whatnot. And he told me it was going to cost $2,200 to pay for it. I'm like, gosh, I don't have that money right there. But thank God I had insurance. So with the insurance, it was coming out to $1,200. And I'm like, okay, it's a lot better, but it's still a lot, So he called the owner, to come to he called the owner. Yeah, legendary story. My wife can tell you. So the owner comes an hour and a half later, and I'm waiting there with a lot of patience. I'm sweaty, I'm hot, I'm dirty, I'm hungry, after moving, but I'm waiting there with a lot of patience. And the guy at U-Haul, he was calling his owner. He was saying, listen, this customer is waiting patiently. He's not copping out. He's not, with a bad attitude. He's, really waiting patiently, So finally the owner comes. When we go into the store, you know what that owner does? That owner is on the computer and he's doing his best to lower the bill for me. In my mind, I'm like, this guy is crazy. Like, I crashed your truck and you're trying to make me pay less than what is really, what's supposed to be. I'm like grateful. I'm like, Lord, you are the best. And you know what? He lowered the payment to $963 a month. A month. Wow. Not a month. He lowered the payment to $963. And guess what? I had $1,000 in my emergency fund. What a relief. I'm not going to lie to you. It did sting real bad that the fact on the day that I'm moving in with my wife, I had to pay $963 right then and there. But you know what? I felt better, even better, the fact that I was able to pay it because I had an emergency fund. I didn't have to use a credit card. I didn't have to call, my brother or somebody to lend me $1,000 knowing that I had to pay it back. You know what I'm saying? That was a big relief. Now, of course, I was still working at that time, so I had to make sure that I put that $1,000 back. You know what I'm saying? Yes, that emergency fund came in handy. So you see why I say that having an emergency fund is important, because did I know that I was going to crash that U-Haul truck on the day that I was going to move? Of course not. That is why you have to have an emergency fund, guys. Super, super important. All right, the next point I want to talk about, more opportunities to travel. When you spend less, you gain more. You have more opportunities to travel. You have more doors open. You know what I'm saying? And not use debt to pay, which a lot of people do. And a lot of people, they get so frustrated because they feel like, man, I can't even go on vacation because I don't even have the money. And we have these kids. But you know what? A lot of people, they use their credit card. They go in debt. But when you have less debt or no debt, you have extra money to use to travel. Let me know. Put it in the chat if you want. If you have no debt and you have enough money to travel somewhere where you wanted to go, where would you go with no problem of getting in debt? You know what I'm saying? I would love to go to Hawaii. I would love to go to Greece. You know what I'm saying? Or let's go maybe something cheaper. Let's go to Jamaica. You know what I'm saying? There you go. My sister Soraya. Egypt. Beautiful, beautiful. You would love to go to Egypt. There you go. Same thing, Egypt. You know what I'm saying? But because many people are so trapped in debt, they feel like they can't even go on vacation. Matter of fact, they have to do staycations. You know what I'm saying? They can't really go anywhere because they don't have money. So, but they use credit cards and they get themselves into debt. But when you have little to no debt, you're able to travel. You have more doors to open, more doors open for you to travel. And I want to travel. I know right now, for the past 2 years, or especially this year, we didn't travel anywhere because we're going hard and paying off our debt. Next year, we do want to travel. I do want to go back home to New Jersey, but we're going to take a nice vacation as a gift for ourselves with the hard work of paying off debt. We do have a place in mind, but we still got to think about where we really want to go and enjoy. Why not? You know what I'm saying? And that's going to be a big thing. And I'm pretty sure some of you here want to be able to travel, especially after COVID shut down and people are so desperate. They just need to get out. Listen, I do Uber, and ever since everything opened up in Miami, oh my goodness, the airport was packed. I kept going back to the airport to pick up people coming in from a different country, people coming in from Virginia, from New York, from this place. Like, it's crazy. If you go to South Beach right now, it is packed. A lot of people. Everybody's traveling again. The next point I want to talk about is your credit score matters less. And I know that a lot of people don't like this one. All right? Spending less money on things you don't need allows you to have money to pay things in cash. Just like I mentioned earlier, the stuff that we have here in our apartment, everything was paid for with our debit card. All right? And we do have a good credit, right? You know what I'm saying? We both have good credit. But when you realize that you have no debt, and when you have enough money, and when you have money to pay things in cash, to be honest with you, your credit score will matter less. And I know that you may have questioned, oh, but what about buying a car? What about getting a house? Don't you need to build your credit? And to be honest with you, no. It's actually a myth. Is it a little bit more difficult? Yes. But it is not impossible. Why? Because first of all, a lot of us, including myself, who didn't have financial literacy, we struggle, and we thought, Australia, that's what's up. We thought that in order for you to live life and buy things, you need to have credit. That is a myth. You know, the credit score, the whole FICO score, was implemented to this country in 1979. This is nothing new, guys. This is all a trap. You know what I'm saying? Now, you may not have cash to pay for a house, and I understand that. I don't have the money to pay to a house right now. I don't have $300,000 to pay for a house. You know what I'm saying? It's either get a credit score or something called a manual underwriting. Most mortgages don't even know about that anymore. You know what I'm saying? A manual underwriting is a more complex more complex process to have a house with a zero credit score. And a zero credit score does not mean bad credit score. It just means you have no history. It's indeterminable. You know what I'm saying? You don't have a credit score. But what they do is that they look into everything that you have, your bank account, the things that you spend, and determine if they'll give you that mortgage or not without a credit score. Okay? I know it can be hard because not everybody has the money to be saving, but this is why financial literacy is important. Instead of buying so many things, being caught up with the trend of this world, right? Buying things that you do not need, why not save money? Save a nice 10 to 20% for your house. You know what I'm saying? Get rid of all of your debt before having a mortgage. It's safer that way. And you know what? A lot of people may say, oh, but you're wasting money renting. Well, I would say that if you're renting for like 10 plus years, 8 plus years, then yeah, you're wasting your money because the money you could be using for a mortgage. But listen, there's nothing wrong to rent for a few years when you need to get yourself situated, especially if you just got married. I mean, if you have a lot of money, if you have no debt, whatever. But if you just got married, like, take your time, rent for like 2 years, 2-3 years, and save up and wait. Because a lot of people that buys homes, you know what happens? They become house poor. They have other debt plus a mortgage plus the roof leaks. Something happens in the home. You got to tear down the walls, something. And then you got to pay for that as well. And especially if you don't have an emergency fund, forget about it. You're done. You're going to go bankrupt. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to go that route. So this is why I say personally, credit score matters less. Again, I have a credit score because we have debt and we're still paying off our debt every month and whatnot. So our credit score increases. But after we become debt free, you know what I'm saying? After we become debt free, I'm not going to worry about having a credit score because in order for you to have a credit score, you need to borrow money, which to me doesn't make sense. All right. So let me just read what this is off topic, but if it be the will of the Lord, I want to get my own apartment when I go to college. Would that be smart? God bless you, brother. Would that be smart? It depends. It depends. Listen, I would advise, and you're still young, I would advise if you're living in your with your parents, and you guys are healthy, whatnot, I would say to live there as long as you can, right? Because you want to be able to take advantage and save money. Of course, you want to be able to give money to your parents as to help them out with rent or groceries. But if you do want to move out, you know what I'm saying? Do make sure that you don't have debt. Make sure that you can afford it. Because when you go to college, many college people they don't have money. You know what I'm saying? Many college people are not as, blessed as others that everything is paid for. Maybe they live in a lavish home from their family, whatnot. But you have to be very smart if you can afford it. You know what I'm saying? And if you do move out, I recommend you get a roommate, somebody who's trustworthy. And if you are a believer in Christ, which according to you probably are, you want to get somebody who's a believer in Christ. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that you can grow together with and not have any crazy stuff going on between both of you in the apartment. You want to save as much as possible, pay as less as possible, but be wise. All right? Be wise. All right. And the last thing I want to talk about is, and feel free to have any questions. All right. Feel free to comment. I can answer whatever questions as best as I can. All right. The last thing I want to say is that when you live below your means or when you spend less, you are able to bless others in time of need. All right. We live in a world of self and rarely think about the needs of other people, especially now where so many people are struggling, when so many people are, they have no jobs, or so many single mothers, or maybe have some close friends are really struggling. Like, what about them? If you're kingdom minded and if you are a child of God, you're going to be thinking about other people, not just about what you want to buy. You want to buy all these clothes, you want to buy all these things. Now, again, I'm not saying you can't buy things, but what I'm saying is that you want to be able to have at least some money set aside to bless somebody when you know somebody is struggling in your church. Or maybe you have a friend who's a single mom and is struggling, or they're stressing out because they can't pay for this. Maybe you can be that person to give money. And I would recommend that you don't lend money to them, because when you lend them, first of all, you're putting them in debt. They're borrowing money from you, and they have to pay you back. And a lot of times when you lend money to people, what happens? That relationship can go sour. Thanksgiving will not be the same, right? They're going to try to lie or try to cop out. Oh, I'll have your money by next week. If something came up, they're going to come up with excuses. Listen, so many relationships have been broken because of this very issue. Me personally, and my wife and I, we do not lend money to anybody, right? Give if you can. Exactly. Right? Give if you can. We don't lend money to anybody. And it's not because we're rude or we're jerks or anything like that. No, because if I lend money to you, first of all, I'm being a hypocrite because I'm not practicing what I preach. I'm anti-debt unless I get a mortgage, write a contract. You know what I'm saying? But we choose to give money when we can't afford to bless somebody. So if I'm going to give somebody money, I'm not asking for anything in return. I'm telling you, you need it. You don't need to give it back to us. We want to bless you with that money. You know what I'm saying? We don't want anything in return. We can afford it. We can give it to you. And it depends how you want to. I don't know, just a very simple example. Maybe set aside $30 a month for someone that may need help in the future. You know what I'm saying? And easily give that money to that person. So it can be different ways how you want to go about it. But at the end of the day, we must be givers. You want to be able to bless other people. And I'm not saying that you can't give money even when you're in debt. What I'm just saying is that we need to be careful and not have the mindset of, oh, I don't make a lot of money, so I can't help people out. That's not true. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's $10, like when you see people raise money for through the GoFundMe app, right? I've done it before. Listen, every dollar counts. You know, they'll say, oh, even if it's $5, $10, like it doesn't matter. You don't need to have a lot of money to bless other people. You know what I'm saying? At least you're thinking about them. At least you're doing what you can to bless them in ways that other people can't. You know what I'm saying? And then later on, when you feel like you have a lot of money, you can go ahead and bless somebody. How different will this world be, especially in the Christian world, if we were to think that way? If we were to be selfless and stop buying so many things and getting into in debt. Listen, I believe, and listen, I'm talking to myself first because I was in that situation. Even though I didn't have financial literacy, I made poor decisions, you know, with my money. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm smarter. Now I'm wiser. Now I know what I'm talking about. Now I have better money management skills. You know what I'm saying? It's very important to have this kind of mindset as a Christian. I mean, as believers and children of God, we should be setting better examples than those who are not. Because there are many people that are not children of God. They are blessed or they are well off better than us. Why? Because they know the principle of finances. They know the principle of giving, which is super important. All right. And talking about budgeting is super important. I don't know how many of you budget, but I create a budget every single month. All right. And I have to make sure I know where my money goes. All right. What is a budget? It's a spending plan based on your income and expenses. All right. A budget is pretty much telling your money where to go instead of not knowing where it went. Right. That is super important because when you don't budget, you're just spending money here and there and you don't know where it really went. You don't keep track of how much you spent. You don't save receipt. But when you actually make a budget and jot down, whether in paper or in an app, jot down everything that you're going to be spending on. Now, there's some things that may vary, like gas. For me, gas varies because I do Uber, so sometimes I have to pay a little bit more, sometimes it's less. But when you know the things that are sure, you know what I'm saying? Like you got to pay your car note, your insurance, your rent, your cell phone, things that are sure. You know, budget is to live under your means, correct, Soraya? You know what I'm saying? Living below your means, knowing where your money went. And you know what? A lot of people may say, oh, if I budget, that's taking away my freedom. To be honest with you, when people do not budget and they spending money, that's not true freedom. If it gets you into debt, that's not freedom, right? Save, spend, share, pay yourself. You know what I'm saying? But when you budget, that is true freedom. You're having control of what you're going to spend. You're telling your money where to go versus where it went. And I never budgeted in my life until we got married. Was it easy? No, right? It was for the first 3 months. It was complex. It was weird. It was just different. And are we perfect right now? There are times that even with the budget that we do, we spend money where it wasn't even the budget. But we know that it wasn't money that got us in debt. It wasn't a lot of money that we spent either. You know what I'm saying? But like 98% of the time, we are on point when it comes to budgeting. You know, exactly. You budget because you care. Budget is a goal to a means. Amen. Shoot, my sister, you want to take over the channel? Come on. I love it. You know, but this is very important, guys. So that was my last point when it comes to spending less and gaining more. I hope you guys were edified. I hope that, you know, that you can really apply these things, even though it may not be so easy right now. And another thing is that when it comes to budgeting, my next episode, I'm going to be talking more in depth about the reasons why people avoid budgeting. All right. And I already mentioned one of them, which is how to do with freedom. It's going to infringe on their freedom, but that freedom actually is getting them in debt. So they don't have freedom. They don't have control in their money, in their spending habits. All right. If anybody has any questions, I still got 9 minutes. But if anybody has any questions, any thoughts, maybe you want to share a comment, you know, go ahead, share it. I can do whatever. And if any of you want to reach out to me personally in an email because you have debt, you want to know, you want to start a plan for yourself on how to get out of debt, my email is, see if I find it, it's ovalleinspiracion.worldwide. All right. Ovalla.inspiracion@gmail worldwide. All right. I'm going to highlight it so you guys can see it if I can find it. But in the meantime, feel free to talk about anything, ask a question, because it's very important. I help families. As a matter of fact, there's a young lady that my wife and I had a meeting with through Zoom, and she's all the way in the West Coast. She messaged us, and she was like, she needs help, she needs guidance because I have so much debt, and I keep spending money in here and over there. So we got together. I put her on a spending plan, on a budgeting plan, and you know what? In less than 3 months, she already paid off her 3 credit cards because now she's getting better. She's not just spending money on food all the time, buying out. She has so many things now that she has to keep in track. 3 credit cards. She has, I'm not going to say how many credit cards she has, but she has 3 credit cards that she paid off in 3 months. That is a big deal. Not many people can pull that off, right? So I said, okay, awesome. Thank you for the educational support and encouragement. Let us learn together and be better for ourselves and the next generation. Amen. Something I'm still learning every day, budgeting, spending wisely. Hey, my sister, you already know where to reach me. We can chat, we can sit down through Zoom, and we can start a plan. You know what I'm saying? So this is my email, guys. This is my email, ovalla.inspiracion, which is inspiration in English, @gmail.com. Please feel free. All right. This is what I do. This is what passion that I have. All right. I can set up a time and a date, and we can talk and get you on a plan. I was there. I'm moving forward. I'm succeeding, and I'm still in debt, and I'll be debt free very soon. And I can't wait to share those good news to you guys. All right. I think we can be better off when we have less or no debt when it comes to that in our lives. So with that being said, guys, I thank you so much for chiming in. Thank you, Manika, Soraya, Bob Builder, and everybody else that's watching. I appreciate you. Stay tuned for the next video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. All right. Make sure you like this video and stay tuned for the next video live stream coming up soon on why people avoid budgeting.